Cool. Well, Isaac, super stoked to chat with you today. Just so everyone knows, I'm Josh, founder of Align Growth, and today we have Isaac, founder of Flux Footwear. And Isaac, how are you doing today?
Hey, we're doing well. In the season of tariffs, we're surviving. So any days making to the next is a good one. So
Absolutely. We're in the trenches together. Cool. Well, we're really excited to just chat and just have a conversation just around working together between Aligned Growth and Flux and just what we've been able to accomplish together in the past few months. And so just want to kick things off kind of early in on our relationship. We just kind of want to understand, before working with Aligned Growth, what was it like running your influencer program? I know that you had kind of varying experiences with what you were doing internally. And so, yeah, just kind of paint us a picture of like what you had tried, um, what those results were, and really kind of like what was your biggest challenges with running the influencer program before working with us.
yeah. So a little bit of my about my background because I think that's important is I kind of come from the paid media growth agency uh realm, and as we all know, like numbers are extremely important, measurable KPIs, and um I don't have a lot of background in the influencer space or that world. And really, what I was unfortunately introduced to, but not even unfortunately, I think like that's just what the industry was and the mindset of like literally, I had um, the team have the mindset of, hey, I need a $30,000 budget. We're going to deploy that. And as long as the people hit their KPIs, it's a win. And the KPIs being, are they posting once a day? Are they posting their story? Like there was no measurable impact of an ROI from a financial return. It was,
Right.
hey, does this influencer make our brand feel sexy or look sexy? Are we aligning with what the brand wants versus like what's an ROI of that? And while I think that's important to have in place in that process to uh, be considered, there has to be a direct ROI or else you're just burning money. And like that's just my head. It was like this idea of brand versus paid marketing, or like it just they can't ever be aligned. And I think once I had the conversation with you in the mindset of like being able to even think about CPMs, and like that literally didn't even enter my mind of like realizing from a success metric, um, CPMs. And that's how you can kind of start thinking through if it's an ROI positive. And why I think CPMs is an important metric to kind of think through is we were measuring through code usage or just like from a revenue stance.
Mhm.
Um, but I think as we all know, or like I think it's important to consider that influencers is a much more kind of awareness top of funnel channel in most cases, and you're not going to see that immediate return. And so using the CPM metric as kind of a benchmark, which you kind of really showed as even an option or possibility, because again, all our growth marketers, meta CPMs, we constantly keep an eye on, talk about, stress about, always increasing. So that's important. Like we all know and understand that and base our spend and just success on that. How do we think about CPMs? And personally for us, it was like, how do we, if we're able to achieve a CPM of like a store review to what the COGS were or whatever we paid, and it's lower than what Meta is, that's a good starting point, right? Because it's cheaper, it's getting awareness, it's getting the brand out there,
Yeah.
and filling that infamous top of funnel down to bottom of funnel.
Yeah. That's good.
And
So it
and
sounds like out the get-go, you even use our own agency name, Aligned, from
exactly,
aligning influencer partnerships and performance media,
exactly,
being meta primarily for you guys. That was kind of the catalyst, I guess, for you is like this kind of mindset shift into the
exactly.
CPM model versus discount code usage and kind of more affiliate bottom of funnel usage
Yes.
as a ways to scale.
100%. And I think another big problem, which is like code leakage. And, if we were running a sale, then our influencers, affiliates were wanting like, well, why can I get a 30% off? And it just, it was just a really difficult transactional slash relationship, in all that. And exactly, it was how can we like measure it while also gain awareness and not just have bottom of funnel and also just not throw a $30,000 budget. And as long as they're posting, we
Mhm.
consider that a win. And like having measurable results.
Totally. So it sounds like the biggest challenge out the gate was kind of measurement. I guess before our first conversation, how many creators had you maybe worked with and what kind of results had you seen before working with us? And then like what were some of the first results that maybe you saw just like in the first couple of months that you started to see as we started to gain momentum?
Yep. Yeah, so it really is kind of two separate strategies around it, but can definitely share. For us, it was like we had um probably 10 influencers on retainer, and there was the exact same 10. Um, every month, and they would post I think I forget exactly the exact requirements, but it was like post one story a week, post two reels a month. um we were also kind of playing around with some ambassadors, so if we had like a monthly call, they would jump on. um and then just like posting organically. And to be honest, where we were at as a brand, I mean, we're now 10x the size of when we were kind of implementing that. It was really effective. I think it was allowing us to gain some credibility. However, I think we found that being really just like tapping out in that audience.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, just where and how do we continue to find that ROI? And just again, the codes just became a really, really big issue for us. And I think, well,
Yeah.
one, just the complete lack of any sort of measurement in terms of like EMV, CPMs, also from a sense of like content. That's another thing that we're just now kind of starting to implement. You guys have been great helping with that, is like, how do we repurpose this content for paid media? And really like just internally we weren't able to align those structures. Like seriously, for 2 years I've been having this dream, and it's like we're finally able to like have a partner with you guys and making that come to fruition. So working with you guys, um we I can't even give like what our CPM number would be, but I mean we're now like sub $2. We're anywhere in like the 30-ish range CPM. So like really, really effective in terms of like the efficiency of CPMs. Um, and then, like I said, we're now developing this ability to create UGC style content and implementing that into our paid media, which is coming from a growth marketing background, paid media agency. The number one frustration of, I would have to say, of all media buyers is the lack of creative.
Right.
There's never enough creative, and like being able to develop and funnel that has been really important for success. And I think another really big piece is like using influencer as a way to de-risk it. So, right, like you have the awareness play, you have the content play organically and paid, and then yes, you have the conversion purchase metric, right? But like that was, I think, a really big shift that you guys helped us align with, where it's like we want codes and purchases. We had no structure for the content, and then like we had no like strategy for this EMV CPM awareness play. But then having these three different boxes where it's like, hey, we didn't get any conversions from this piece of content,
Right.
but we were able to use that content in an ad that now we're spending $100,000 on. So like
Right.
that was then that generated ROI, or this created a massively cheap CPM, and now people are more aware of the brand. So it's like if these two fail, but you succeed in one, it just gives you, more shots on goal in a sense. And I think that has really been like that momentum that we've been experiencing with this program, where we like had kind of a more single un or non-strategic approach with influencer.
No, that's good. I love you reiterating those tiers because that's really what we're always harping on is like if it's not at this level, then it's at the next level. If it's not at this one, then it's at the next one. And it's just like having kind of that holistic approach. And as long as our KPIs are within reason, then we can keep going and keep producing ROI and getting those ads that you can spend 100K on profitably, which I know that we're doing a lot of whitelisting for you guys. I guess outside of the $2 CPMs on organic and maybe spending 100K on, one of our influencer ads, has there been any other like tangible results that you're like, you kind of mentioned we made your dreams come true earlier, which I love. I feel like we're like Disney or something. But yeah, just curious, were there any other like tangible
Mm,
results
yeah,
that you've seen working with the aligned growth team?
yeah. I think it's important to mention too, and I, where and this next point I want to make is like I do think it's very, very important to take a hard and honest look at your brand and your product. And
Yeah,
frankly, some categories influencer will crush, and
yeah,
some categories could work, but maybe not to a massive scale, right? Like let's use example supplements, right? Like you have to be very intentional to be like, hey, I'm going like it isn't a natural organic thing typically. Like most I feel like influencers, if they're talking about what supplement they're using, there's
yeah,
some sort of like affiliate or like they're paying. With shoes, like people look at my cute outfit. Like that's just a very natural, organic way. And we actually heard that from a lot of other influencers. They're like, your product is so easy to integrate into our content versus like if you have a supplement, it's like you have to very intentionally put that into it. Or like say you're a sock brand or whatever, it's like in your shoe. So
yeah.
I think that's very important to communicate because this next point I think is like having this ability to spend significant dollars for that one big lottery hit. And I'll use the example we case. She's an influencer that we had paid, I don't know, like $8,000 or a couple times to post. And she hadn't heard of the brand. And for me, I was like, man, that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I forget exactly if her results, by no means were they ecstatic or amazing. Um, at the start. However, then she became a fan. And now she is literally driving millions of impressions a month for us. One, we're not having to constantly pay a retainer for it. But like and then we have Alex, another influencer. She's going along on her weight loss journey. But it took several bets. I mean, this was like month 3 or 4, I think, that it really was this massive unlock. So I think that's another really important thing is having this action and Josh, when we were on the call when we first started, is like a successful influencer program compounds. Like
Mm.
to be able to have a truly successful, and if your product allows for it, I mean, it's a year process. It took 6 months for it to really find this traction for us.
Yeah.
Um, and like having the right fit, like I think that's a really important thing is like the people on the account, the strategy, testing various things. Like you can't just like we're gonna go after this one demographic, and if it doesn't work, influencer doesn't work. Like you
Right.
really have to try that and just go in wide, eyes wide open. I think that's another really big thing, and it's scary and hard. Like I'm the founder, it's like money out of my pocket. So like I literally like you have to be okay with that and really like yeah, eyes wide open. Are you okay putting dollars into this and not seeing something for 3 months and being okay like man, we actually like lost money on this, and it's a really tough thing. Influencer is frustrating in the sense of the rate cards are just ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
Oftentimes, like, man, being a founder is nice, but an influencer would have been a little bit better.
Yeah. I like what you
But
said there, though, like the eyes wide open approach, because I think one of the things I always like to say is that we're digital marketers, not magicians, right? And
100%.
everyone like wants to go viral immediately, which can happen. Like we've seen it happen before for our clients. But to your point, is like you start to see the compounding results over 6 months, and that was because we tested and tested and tested and tested and tested for 6 months with a structured and aligned approach over time. So yeah, I really appreciate you calling that out. One thing I was going to ask too was just I guess in terms of like working with the AGM team, how's that been? I know that you've been working with Marissa on our team for a while now, and yeah, just if you're willing to share, just kind of how has your experience been, just like working with our team for the last 6 months?
Sure. Yeah, transparently, we had a rough start as we know. But yeah, I think that speaks volumes. Again, I come from an agency background. Um, I do think that there's a lot of value to like going with an XYZ agency, but the reality is like the individual person that you're working with is really in essence the X factor. Yes, the agency teaches a lot and like adds a lot of culture and strategy behind it, but it really comes down to, in my POV, like the individual person that's working on your account. So I can go off on a tangent on that of like how you want to think through that. But yeah, it was a struggle at the start. We had a very open, honest communication. You guys were like, "Hey, we're gonna put the A team on you guys and like really right the ship." And like I was like, okay, like let's give it a shot. Like to be honest, I was doubtful, and I think I even communicated I was doubtful about it.
Yeah,
But yeah, very quickly it's very quickly. I wouldn't say the results immediately happened, but there was a strategy shift, an effort shift, just an alignment shift, and I think that's what I would suggest. Like anyone thinking about an agency or even working with AGM is like, is there that effort being put into it? Because again, you're not magicians, but like you can control the effort. And like that's what you guys I think have done exceptionally well, Marissa and the team, um, really taking the feedback and implementing it quickly. And yeah, like so by no means would I say and to be clear, I am usually anti-agency. I think I might have even mentioned that on the
yeah,
call. I'm from and like I know it. So that's where I'm just like, no, it's the person that's the X factor, not just I want this agency has a great rep, so they're gonna be awesome. So um but again, I think it does speak to aligned growth as like an agency of like, hey, we're able to turn this around and like do what needs to to happen to make it fix. Because again, like we're all human and makes it mistakes happen. Like this is what we're gonna do to right it and just be very upfront and honest. And that's just how the relationship has grown. Um, but yeah, I think that's been a really important aspect of like the success is like our ability and your team's ability to kind of work together. And we have a really unique, I think a lot of your clients typically have like maybe an in-house team and then
yeah,
working with you guys. And
yeah,
that's just been a really big thing too, is like making sure your internal team can support the work that a lot, the agency or aligned growth team is, because
yeah.
yeah, you're experts in the business and it's just been a really renewing experience, I'd say, and just see a lot of possibilities.
I love it. Appreciate you saying that. And we love working with you and super excited for some of your paid social partners that have come on board too. It just feels like we're just adding rocket fuel to the fire. So I'm stoked to see where we'll be in like 12 months. I guess if you had any other like advice for like founders who are maybe hesitant to like invest into influencer right now, like how would you help them think about it or just advise them on like making that decision?
Yep, perfect advice, and frankly, exactly what we did.
Yeah.
So I was literally the person seeding at the very start. Like I was the one in the people's DMs. I was the one making the calls, scheduling the deals. Like so seeding. Like for us, like that was just truly a really big unlock for us in the sense of gaining awareness. Frankly, I mean, we are very, very good from day one at running paid ads. That's kind of our superpower internally. But that just accentuated and like really continued to add that like, oh, I saw an ad. I also see this influencer that I love. And it really was a nice tandem. But that's how I'd really suggest it is like is I would not get an agency at the start. Like, can you seed sustainably? Because again, like, and why I suggest that is like, even I think from my opinion, an agency wouldn't even want that because like, great, you're gonna work for them a couple months and the onboarding costs, all the things. So it's like, how can you develop some sort of level of success? One, is your product even like naturally able to be told in an organic setting because yeah, frankly, it's not going to be sustainable if you have to pay for every single impression that you want because it just won't. Like you've got to have them post a second, a third, a fourth time integrated into their daily life. As we know, like any of our favorite influencers, you hear about them post it once. Like, how often are you going to buy? It's maybe the eighth time that you might have actually seen them authentically do it. So, one, like, is your product truly uh able to find some scale in like this influencer like at a large scale, I guess. Like I think it can be effective for a lot of brands, but just testing and trying and like is it organically able to be placed into it? Like I think it's also what's the market? What's the type of influencer? Is it micro? Is it macro? Um, because then you're just saving costs of like, hey, agency, this is where we should go. We've tested this, we've tried it, let's find a base and then start exploring other options
Yeah.
in
One
audiences. So
Yeah, one thing I was gonna call out there was I think you made a good point, which was like trying it yourself. And I think that like
yes.
some people need to experience the pain of doing product gifting themselves before hiring an agency to understand the value. I kind of make it, I actually like a couple months ago, I have a pool and like I had hired someone to clean the pool and I was like, oh, that looks so easy. And I fired them and I was like, I'm the pool guy. I'm gonna clean it and do all the chemicals and whatever. Like literally in 3 weeks, the pool turned green because
I
I
I have
didn't know how to
literally the
do
exact
it.
same story. I have a
Really?
pool right outside. No joke, the exact. It is like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's like cooking. Like it is.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to do it. You can't exactly. It looks so easy.
Yeah. And then
That's just so
you're
funny.
like, okay, wait, I should actually find an agency to do this for me. Because maybe A, my spreadsheet and DM strategy isn't working. And
Yes.
it was
Yep.
so painful and hot outside that I don't want to clean my pool anymore. It's like the same
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
with influencer.
Yeah. I think that's the other side of it, where it's like maybe you aren't doing it as well, but like the pain, or yeah. So I think I covered the one aspect of like, hey, can you actually do it? But also like, hey, maybe I'm not as good, or like, hey, Josh, I've tried this, and Josh, you're like, oh, well, you're missing this. Of course, it's not working. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a really, again, going back, eyes wide open. Maybe that's like the tagline is influencer marketing, go eyes wide open. Because it isn't. It really is at times feeling like buying a lottery ticket. And I think a lot of brands you have to be at that. If you're not just seeding, if you're paying dollars for like actual impressions, you've got to kind of have that approach to some extent.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Cool, man. Well, I think last question, I guess, just in terms of just like the impact that the influencer channel has on your business and just like the effect that AGM has had in growing Flux. Yeah, is there anything else that you want to share in terms of like how you've seen things grow and develop? I know that the last 2 years you have had a massive scale. It's been like it should be like written on like the Shopify like all-time record list, I think, in terms of growth and scale. But yeah, is there anything else that you feel like influencer and the aligned growth team has helped contribute to just like the overall growth of Flux?
Sure. Yeah, just I think tying it all back together for me, like paid media is kind of our growth engine. Paid media specifically on Meta is more than just hook variations and like pure UGC content. Like you really have to have this trifecta, I'm calling it. You have to
Yeah,
have the organic angle, you have to have the influencer angle, and then like your paid ads.
yeah,
And the big thing is like all three have to be working together now to actually find meaningful spend scale.
yeah,
And I'm feeling really confident and good at where we're at in the influencer space of the trifecta, to just continue to feed the engine of Meta. And we're just seeing a lot of growth and success, and 30% from the beginning of the year increase in our spend. And just creating that content flywheel has like been, I think, the big thing. But like for 2025, that's what I'm really focused on. I think a lot of brands that are finding success is that kind of that trifecta content strategy of influencer, organic, to feed, and then paid media to like feed the algorithm of Meta. So again, I think, yeah, going back to the three tiers, it's like not having that single approach, is just like collectively unifying, growing the business is like approaching influencer in a three-tiered way. So
Love it.
that's
Appreciate
what
that.
we
That's so good. I'm gonna have to share the three-tiered approach on Twitter because
love it.
you're not active enough on Twitter. So now I'm just gonna steal it as a my I'll say Isaac and then Josh Durham, kind of like a Michael Scott quote to steal that. But Isaac, thank you so much, man. We appreciate the kind words. Love working with you and excited to see what the future holds.
Great. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, man.